Good afternoon. Hope you had a wonderful Sunday. Today, unlike yesterday, it was just glorious. I mean, the rain was terrific, but today we got rewarded with sunlight and greenery and beautiful things to see. Look at that. Look at the colors. It's just amazing. And you may have followed some of the politics. The question of the debt limit, increasing it to cover our obligations and so forth, so the world recognizes us as a government that's working in the regular order. And 77, I believe it was, members of Congress wrote to the president and said, don't put up with this nonsense in which the Republicans are trying to bargain away the elements of the budget that they couldn't otherwise secure the vote for. And that's not us, and that's not what the debt limit is about. And they encouraged him to invoke Article 14, Section 4, which they believe, and I agree, would allow the president to increase the debt limit without Congress. And apparently Biden has said there isn't time to do that, and he won't do that. Now, number one, I disagree with that. But number two, I would not have said that. Nobody's made me president, so I'm not going to get the opportunity to do that. But think about it. If you don't say it, it's on the table. It's possible. And it may encourage a settlement along lines that are acceptable. So why take something off the table that is constitutional, legitimate, and meets the objections of the Republicans, who only seek to diminish the services to the people, but not to the Republicans' people, the ones on Wall Street. So there's that. Now, while talking about the senators, let's talk about Josh Hawley. Now, you may remember that he was allied with the insurrectionists, waving at them and, sort of, in my opinion, spurring them on. But then we have all these videos of him running back and forth within the congressional buildings to avoid the insurrectionists, it appears. We wouldn't want them to mistake him for an enemy of these insurrectionists. So he's sort of having it both ways. Now, one of the things that's interesting to me is there's a book review about him. He has a book out on manhood. Run away, run away. He runs away, and he's going to tell us about manhood, So we have this guy becoming a man, we're going to take it from him, it's just quite, he's Iron Josh rather, and he's out there, and he's going to help us become a man. Well, he's a soft man by my judgment, and awakening the midget within, if you will, the midget man within him. And maybe he's going to be considered by the Tucker Carlson book club this week. I don't know if Tucker Carlson has a book club, but we do know he also thinks he knows a great deal about manhood. These guys, they're, illusions in their own mind. They're just geniuses, and they don't have any idea what they're doing. So he wants to guide men who are aimless and irresponsible. Doesn't that sound like Congress to you? Maybe he's talking about the Republican Party and not men in general. Anyhow, I would encourage you not to buy Josh Hawley's book, but to enjoy people commenting on it, making fun of him, because I think that's all that is due him, to make fun of this man who hardly appears manly, whatever that is. And I think that when somebody has to say, I'm a manly man, maybe they're not that manly, because you're either taken for who and what you are, and you can't modify that image, because it has a lot to do with what you say and how you act. And when you run, as he did around the Capitol, how do you ever recover your manhood after that? I mean, that's a supreme humiliation. You are part of the, revolution to change our Republican form of government into an autocracy, and you run away. That's him. A Monty Python song could be written about him. But why should they bother? Why spend the energy and talent on such a worthless individual as Senator Josh Hawley, right? Yeah. Now, there's a related story, in my opinion, and that is that some librarians are going to be prosecuted for the books they keep in their libraries. A clear and present danger of imaginative thought, of clairvoyant speech, of transparencies to wisdom. We can't have that. If we have that, the nation will be thinking. We have to keep America as dumb as a post if we can, because that's the only way the Republicans can get their support and return them to office this year, the next year, and the year after that. Convince them to compromise the very things they need. Well, we've got to balance the budget. And we're going to do it by cutting your Social Security, your Medicaid. We're going to make you work. We're not going to give the money to educate our young, etc., etc., etc. These are the people that want to talk to a dumbed-down America because they think they won't get how they're being sacrificed and compromised by the Republicans. They claim a larger tent when it's more like a phone booth. So there's that. Myself and perhaps many of my age probably heard two things that I think, rings true. I remember watching Paul Simon in Central Park singing songs and everybody swaying with some songs and stamping out others. And, he and Garfunkel were just, I don't know, the cat's meow for us. Although I don't think that's the way I'd describe it. It was an adventure. They were with us. We were on the same page. And they've gone through problems as a couple of singers. And Simon has done some imaginative work on his own. And he and Garfunkel have gotten together from time to time. But now Paul Simon has discovered in recent days that he's lost his hearing in his left ear. And it's made it difficult for him to make music. And he's suffering through that. And he's talking about how age brings with it certain changes. And he has... and I don't know the sequence of discovery, but he has a new album out called Psalm 7, and I listened to it yesterday, and you might enjoy it. Now, I think you have to bring to it, the change of times and the change in his life, although when I heard it, I didn't know about his hearing loss. I mean, it may have been out there, I just didn't know about it. And you get the feeling that it's a meditation on his transformation into the man he is at 81 from the man he was at 21. And he does a very interesting thing. And I think you might enjoy listening to it because everybody has to have this passage. I don't know if his invocations of the ultimate being are religious or not, but people sometimes, I think, need a symbol that corresponds to some ultimate truth they can't quite understand, they can't quite describe, but they feel it and know it. And that's why poetry is a way to be transparent to transcendence. Joseph Campbell, I think, described it that way, and other poets have as well. Some poets, writers, you have to hear their voices aloud in order to understand it. I think Joyce, that's true with Finnegan's Wake and other things he's written, because his words are so musical that you have to say it aloud yourself or listen to someone else who says it. And of course, this is definitely true with Paul Simon. And a couple of times when I was listening to his singing, I thought he had missed a note. And I was wondering about that. And I was wondering about his improvisation. Anyhow, I didn't mean to go on so long about it, but Paul Simon was one of those symbols of the age. He had a sense of poetry, sounds of silence. Think about it, sounds of silence. The sound of silence, doing nothing, thinking nothing, doing nothing. And then this, to guide us through his transition for whatever it may mean to our own transitions at this age or some other age. So anyhow, I recommend it. It's, I think, 33 minutes. And there's another man on the stage that I like a great deal. Former Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe. I like the man. I thought he pulled together Virginia as governor. There's no question in my mind that he should be our governor now. And I'm glad to hear that he went over to Ukraine on his own dime to study what's going on there so he can come back and talk about it, help Ukraine. His wife has received a Biden appointment, and there's some talk that he may be appointed by Biden to some post. And I think that's really good, that we get a chance to use and profit from the wisdom body of a person like McAuliffe, who at 66 has seen quite a bit of American politics and made a difference, in my opinion, for the better during his public life. And so he's too young to let go. And it's great to see that he's out there on his own and being considered seriously to be brought into the administration. So I hope your Sunday was good. It's been beautiful with us. We had some of Hawley's family out to see us, and that was very pleasant. And my stepdaughter visited us from Oregon, and Hawley and she made the most amazing chocolate chip cookies, including one huge one. So have a good day, and I speak to you from my cathedral of trees. Beautiful, isn't it? Talk to you. Bye-bye.